But we're going to invite up here. We have a guest here today. So Asher, are you out there? I think I saw you join.
I'm out here, Patrick. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, yes, absolutely. So let me spotlight you and me, and there we go. Look at him. He's even got the headset. Like he's look, this is serious lead gen guy. Like if you see anyone in a market center with that kind of headset, like they are ready to go generate some business. I'm just
That's
saying.
it.
Um,
That's it.
well, we're excited to have you here today, Asher. Do me a favor, since most everybody doesn't know who you are. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and tell us what your last year in real estate was like. How about that?
Absolutely. So, Asher Black, guys, I am here in the downtown Chattanooga Keller Williams office. Let's go. I am from initially Middle Tennessee. So, for those of you who know probably where Nashville is, if you go about 60 miles south, you hit a tiny town called Petersburg, Tennessee, that nobody's heard of. Grew up on a farm there. And last year, incredible year, helped about 77 different families buy or sell, and it was incredible.
That's an awesome year. And you're not a team, right? You're solo agent.
I have been this whole year, and this year we got some fun surprises, but last year all solo.
Solo agent, guys. So I want y'all to hear that real quick. That takes some serious intentionality. I'm just gonna say, like, you don't do this by accident by any means. So let me ask you this. So you've had a lot of success in real estate. What do you attribute that to?
Mm. Uh, Biggest thing, I think two things hit the nail on the head there with the 80%, right? The things that actually produce the income, and then being able to have a schedule that's going to promote those things and prioritize those things first.
Absolutely. So not just waking up and do whatever feels right that day. You're gonna
Man, I wish.
I'll tell you a funny story, guys. Like when I called Asher to talk about this, he was like, I was like, do you have a minute? He's like, yeah, I got like 3 minutes and I got to get on to my next time block. I'm like, man, okay, exactly the person I need to talk to for this conversation. So thought that was cool. So let me ask you this, because you shared a cool story with me. Like, how did you come up with like your personal calendar and like your time blocks? Like, what was the genesis of this?
Mm. So the biggest thing is a lot of times I see a lot of new agents, Patrick, they'll come in, they'll go, hey, we got to reinvent the wheel. We got to have something new, something different. MREA is an incredible resource. A lot of those top people in our industry, they've already written the narrative for you. They've already defined what success looks like. So going to obviously Gary Keller has a great way of outlining it. MREA, there's a book called Miracle Morning. All of those things, they kind of spell it out. So I am the author of none of this. I'm kind of just taking what was already found to be successful and then just implementing it in my day based on the lead source I go after.
I absolutely love that. So on the shoulders of giants, using other people's experience. I mean, this all just makes like common sense, but oftentimes we try to like reinvent the wheel. I mean, I think that's a
Yeah.
human thing. We want authorship in something, so we're like, I got to do it differently. Um, so walk us through your day. What does a day look like for you? Like a typical day?
Yeah. So the business element's going to be 4 quarters, but typical day, waking up about 5 o'clock, reading a book, listening to a podcast, something just to kind of get the brain moving. Go to the gym between 6 and 7, get dressed 7 to 8 in the office by about 7:45. The phone starts my business. I know it's not fun. It's not sexy, Patrick, has been built making those outbound cold calls. So I do that from what I call my first quarter of the day. Again, I kind of have 4 quarters. Quarter one is really from 8 to 10. That's new outbound conversations with new people, putting them in my database, my commands, whatever it may be. Quarter two is going to be nurturing the leads I've generated already. That's going to be your 10 o'clock to 12, making sure everybody that I've talked to from last month, 6 months ago, a year ago, they're not falling off because that's going to be 90% of the business anyway. And then lunch, have a break, quick mental break, phones down, and then quarter three, 1 to 3 for me in my business, Patrick. I do servicing and negotiations. So
Wow.
that's hey, we got 3 offers on this one. Let's go ahead and talk to the sellers. Let's go ahead and help them navigate through that next step. And then really, it's supposed to be 4 through 6, but ends up being 4 through 8, 4 through 9. We go on appointments.
I got you, because it kind of sometimes depends on the availability of your clients. Like,
Absolutely, and how far they are. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I mean, travel sometimes can definitely get into that too. So,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this. So that sounds like a great core schedule. You know, I'm sure there's some changes that happen to that. How often do you feel that like you really execute on the plan, I guess?
Incredible question. And I was about to say that that's the perfect ideal day, right? I don't want anyone to walk away going, well, dang it, he does that 10 out of 10 days. No, it's probably to a T, 7 out of 10. And then, the other, 2 out of 10 are going to be some form of, okay, maybe we have to push something a little earlier due to a deadline, something a little later, depending on closings. And then 1 out of 10 is probably just a crazy day nobody could have prepared for. Welcome to real estate.
Exactly. I feel like there's a
Yeah.
quote from like Anchorman or something like that. This it's like 60% of the time it's always right. Like I feel like
Yep.
there's some Will Ferrell thing on there. So okay,
That's
okay.
it. Attach that quote right here.
Yep, yep. Like it's fine. Like you're gonna make mistakes, guys. Like the intentionality is what's important. 60% of the time it works every time. That's what it was. That's the thing I
There
was
you
thinking
go.
about.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Um, okay, so you've got a solid schedule. It's bringing you success in real estate. You struggle some days. It's fine. We all do, but most of the time you nail it. So if you were speaking to someone brand new tomorrow that hasn't been super intentional about their calendar, what would be a piece of advice that you would give them about scheduling their day and intentionality?
Absolutely. That would be twofold. So number one, I'd say, hey, new agent, how are you going to bring people into your world that are going to use you to buy and sell? So what is your lead generation? Is it open houses? Is it going to be cold calls? Is it going to be door knocking? Is it going to be internet leads? I don't care what it is. What is that? Cool. Now that you've gotten that, let's go ahead and just block that first half of the day for finding those people, getting those people, building relationships, and putting them in the database. Because I mean, and I've split tested all the things in the world, it feels like, but I found that most of the time when I would try to save it for that last half of the day, I'll be like, okay, I'll call the last half of the day. Life takes its tolls. Deadlines happen. That's when most agents are working anyways. So I found it really tough. So I would say, Patrick, number one, let's narrow down based on what your goals are, what your why is. How do you get those leads? And then number two, we're going to prioritize them in the morning because that way they're going to get done.
Absolutely. I want to say it may be Morning, one of those that talks about the energy you have at different times of day. It may even just
Yeah.
be MREA, you know, and in the mornings we typically have more energy for those kind of like emotionally, could be emotionally taxing things. And
Yeah.
so just do them while you can and then work on the things that are more fun later in the day. And
Yeah.
so eat the frog. I think that's another term I've heard before. You just
That's it. Yeah.
frog. So, well, awesome. Well, I appreciate you giving some insight into that. Asher has done super well in his market. How many years in real estate are? Yeah, did we say that? How many years?
So I got licensed March of 21. So that was last year was my second full calendar year. So I'll be coming up on my third year anniversary here in March
That's awesome. How long till your MREA?
this year.
You this year? Wow,
Yep.
I love it. That's super exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
Manifest
Yeah.
that, man. Absolutely. Any other advice you would give anybody here, like for the good of the group? Any other advice you would give them?
Yeah. And again, without going too much into the weeds, the biggest encouragement maybe I would offer up, um, start with your goal, start with where you want to be. And then after you find that lead source, you can look up through MREA. There's all the average conversions. Go ahead and reverse engineer what that needs to be. And then that way you have success. You have a target to hit day in and day out, and you're not shooting blindly. That'd be my advice.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Well, definitely want to be respectful of your time. We had a very specific window because he time blocks, guys. He time blocks. We had a specific window. And I was like, this is so cool. So anyway, we appreciate your time so much today for joining us. This was great. Did you guys like him? Do we want to show some love for Asher? Was this valuable to hear from someone just killing it in their schedule space?
I enjoyed it. Do you have time for a question?
Yeah, we'll take one question. Yeah, go for it, Jared. What you got?
I'm just curious how you overcame your fear of cold calling.
Mm,
Oh,
great question. There's a book I would encourage you, Jared, to read. It's called Ready, Fire, Aim.
huh.
Moral of that being like it sounds, but also when I sit down, or I stand up, but before I can think, I just click the dial button. I let myself think and regret it while it's ringing, knowing it's too late.
It's too late.
Thank you. And I know exactly where Petersburg, Tennessee is.
There you go. There you go. Wow. I was wrong.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Asher. We appreciate you. You have a good rest of the day. And I'm going to be rooting for you to be our MREA because I want to see you on our regional list next year when we're at family reunion and we're adding everybody to our MREA list. So
absolutely. Patrick, appreciate the opportunity, sir. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.